On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Person that's making a movie, why would I green light movies and put a big budget behind something that don't even have? And I haven't seen the movie, so I'm just guessing. But don't even really have white people in it. That you don't. I mean, does that make sense to y'all? You making this a race thing, Anton.
See, that's the majority of the that's the majority of the country. Like you only got what 14% black people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would you alienate your customers?
So you think Little Mermaid?
Didn't Black Panther do good?
Yeah, but Black Panther had a bunch of white people in it too.
So you think?
And it's also part of Marvel. It's part of the Marvel
universe.
universe.
It's part of a. See, the thing about Marvel and how they do things is that every story is interconnected. So you got to kind of watch them all in order to understand what's going on in the others, right? So Black Panther was already a legend just from the comic book. So
I'm going to speak on this. Is there an agenda to redefine the woman's role?
So as far as the movie, I haven't seen the movie. I honestly haven't had any interest in seeing the movie. Is there an agenda? I do think that there's an agenda. I think there are many agendas. But I do think that that is a part of the agenda against the entire community in general. Yeah, I do think there's an agenda.
What's the agenda?
The agenda is.
The agenda is.
Is there an agenda to redefine women's roles? Yes, there is an agenda to redefine the woman's role.
And what are they redefining the role as?
I mean, the roles obviously have changed in terms of like two-income household. That's definitely, different. But whose fault is that, right? Our grandparents could buy a house for like $500. Well, exaggeration, but like just with the way that the country is, women's roles have just adjusted over the years in terms of them, joining the workforce. But in terms of recently, with this whole non-binary thing, I mean, basically anyone can, being a woman has become like a caricature in a way. So people feel like that being a woman is certain roles versus the essence of actually being a woman. That if you do certain roles or wear certain things, that you're all of a sudden a woman. And that's not womanhood. And so when there is a idea that you can be that by just doing certain things or wearing certain things, and that's redefining the actual, role of the gender versus, what we're seeing today.
Okay. Amir, what are your thoughts?
I think it's women being envious of the male appendage. I think it's women being envious of what men have in their pants. Because what is the highest role a man can achieve other than God? It's king. What is the highest role a woman can achieve? It's queen. You cannot be a king. You just can't. So, and I mean, unfortunately, if everyone says that race is in everything, it is unfortunate that the Black race is portrayed this way, as it's like the women are the warriors for the men. So it's sad.
Okay. I would say as agenda, similar to what Amira said. I mean, I think it's a lot of stories they could have took out of African history, but specifically taking this one had to be to push a certain narrative to try to balance out power between women and men. And I want to say specifically Black people, but then again, I don't, because I think that women as a whole are marching together. It's not just Black women, it's white women, Spanish women, all women are trying to be on an equal playing field with men. And it's affecting population. And this could be, the agenda could be population control. If we want to look at it from a racial standpoint. Emasculating a Black man, you know what I'm saying? Pushing men out of the door, to Black women coming together and saying they don't need men, stuff like that. So I would say, yeah, it's an agenda. An agenda is to try to balance out the power.
I personally think it's because black men in this country are now enjoying the most freedom that black men have ever had. And I think black men are finally saying, look, we are supposed to be in charge of our communities. We're supposed to be in charge of our tribe, in charge of our family. And I think the agenda is to either slow that down or put a stop to it completely. You understand? Because as long as, you go back to, go back in the day, there was no problem with black men being the head of their household when they had these low paying jobs and were not in a position of economic opportunity. But now that you see black men in a position to where they can rise, they can get into a place where there's no ceiling on what they're capable of doing. Now that you're starting to see black billionaires and numerous black millionaires, I think it's an agenda to try to disrupt the social dynamic between the husband and wife, or men and women. Look at how difficult it is now for black people to maintain a regular relationship.
Yeah, the reason why I say it's just across the board from all races, not just black, because I mean, I can't even watch Marvel Comics movies now because like every character lead role is now transitioned into a woman superhero now.
Yeah, it is across the board. The only difference is white guys, they're fighting against what they feel is being taken from them. Black men are fighting for something that we never truly had across the board. There's a difference.
So what do we not truly have?
A black patriarch in this country.
Anton, you want to speak on this? Is there an agenda to redefine? No, you don't think so?
Nope. I just don't understand why. From a financial perspective, I don't understand why they would put out a movie that's clearly going to fail. I don't understand that. Like, if I'm a person that's making a movie, why would I green light movies and put a big budget behind something that don't even have? And I haven't seen the movie, so I'm just guessing. But don't even really have white people in it. That you don't. I mean, does that make sense to y'all?
That's the majority of the that's the majority of the country. Like, you only got what, 14% black people?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would you alienate your customers?
So you think Little Mermaid?
Didn't Black Panther do good?
Yeah, but Black Panther had a bunch of white people in it too.
So you think?
And it's also part of Marvel. It's part of the Marvel universe.
It's part of a. See, the thing about Marvel and how they do things is that every story is interconnected. So you got to kind of watch them all in order to understand what's going on in the others, right? So Black Panther was already a legend just from the comic book. So